It's the end of the world, zombies are everywhere, I'm at home, stockpiling food and raising my kids. Boss, 100 kilograms of bacon and 200 kilograms of sausage, you have to seal it tightly for me, the ingredients must be real, I'm strongly recommending your bacon to my relatives. Oh, don't worry, you've been eating here for many years, when have you ever been disappointed? The food that can be stored for a long time is completed, the generator is completed, the coal storage is completed. I opened my phone and went through my stockpiling list one by one. Host, have you stockpiled paper? Towels? Paper towels can't be less. I stockpiled, I've been following it 5 days ago, and it was me who reminded me at that time. Real life version of stockpiling for the end of the world, love it, I'll follow it. 1 Yes, things are similar to the Doomsday novels I usually read, the basic operations before the end of the world, the big stockpiling action, but I know the end of the world is coming not because I was reborn. Instead, I had the same dream over and over again for a week. I dreamed that the world would end in half a year, and 1 month before the end of the world, my beloved husband brought me a divorce agreement for me to sign. I was told that I had long been tired of our family's attitude of looking down on him as a rural person, and that he married me just to work less for a few years. He had already transferred all the funds and customers of the family company, and even lied to me when he said he was infertile. He didn't love me at all, so he didn't want to have a child with me, the so-called rich girl. 5 years ago, at his strong request, we adopted a daughter, but it turned out that he had a daughter with his mistress, and the mistress was his true love. I was hit hard and couldn't recover. I lived in my parents' house and cried every day. In the end, I was at a loss when the end of the world came. My parents had been struggling to protect me. In the end, although the whole family was not bitten to death by zombies, they starved to death in the winter of the 2nd year of the end of the world. What I need to do now is to verify the truth of the dream. 2. Mom and Dad, am I right? I don't know if I am the only one in history who brought my parents to catch an adulterer. Jiang Wensheng said that he was busy with work and didn't have much time to accompany his daughter. He hoped that he would give them a whole day on the first day of every month to cultivate their relationship, and I could also have a day off. At that time, I thought my husband was too considerate to give me, a full-time mother, a day of free time. It turned out that this was a real family of 3 family day. Now I see this couple holding their daughter's hand and walking into the playground. Who is that woman? Let's go, Dad will find justice for you. My father, who has loved me all his life, saw this scene and his eyes turned red. Although I reminded them in advance not to get excited when they saw it, this was just to confirm the truth of my dream, but when it really happened, reason had long disappeared, and I just wanted to step forward to seek justice for my daughter. Seeing my father like this, I suddenly became less uncomfortable. Why should I give unnecessary feelings to people who are not worthy? Dad. Do you remember what I said? Mom, stop Dad, let's go home first. It's just a beating now, and it won't be fun. Listen to Nyonyo, let's go back first. My mom looked so angry that she could cosplay Bao Gong, but she still listened to me and stopped Dad. Sure enough, it was my mom who coordinated the overall situation in the Laoju family. But that bastard bullied my Nyonyo, and we only have one daughter. My dad said to my mom in a crying voice. Be good, they will pay the price. 3. The next day I told Jiang Wensheng that my dad wanted to retire and no longer worry about the company's affairs. He wanted to sell the company's shares and invest in financial management. As soon as he heard it, he immediately said excitedly to help contact the shareholders. In the end, he ate the most. After all, my dad's company, which he had worked hard to run for decades, has been thriving, and the shares were sold below the market price. Of course, he couldn't wait and had long wanted to kick his father-in-law out of the company. Just after the equity change was completed, the mistress came to the door. Sister Zhu, don't blame me. Wensheng and I are in true love. I found that people really can't be too kind. After all, some people are ambitious and can't be satisfied. They not only want the piece of meat you feed them, but also want to eat you. Whether in the dream or in the playground before, I was immersed in great sadness and didn't pay attention to who the mistress was. Now I know that it was Suxing, whom I met when I went to Jiang Wensheng's hometown to teach in college. I sponsored her for 7 years as if she were my own sister. I sponsored you to finish high school and college, get out of that backward village, and help you find a job in a big city. Is this how you repay me in the end? Sister Zhu, you have everything since you were a child. I just like Wensheng. You have nothing, so you can steal other people's things. I pushed down the table in front of me and shouted heartbreakingly. Zhu, don't bully Suxing. Jiang Wensheng came forward and hugged Suxing. The young girl leaned on the man who originally belonged to me and cried softly. I looked at them and remained silent for a long time. It turned out that I didn't judge people well more than once or twice, whether it was choosing a husband or a sponsor. How long have you been together? 6 years. You really don't feel any guilt towards me? I stared at the two of them and asked seriously. Forget it, how can a person with a conscience be sincere? Jiang Tongtong, are you willing to follow me? Even if she is not my biological daughter, she is my daughter who I have raised for 5 years with all my motherly love. I want to follow my parents. You are not my mother. My mother said that you are just a nanny who takes care of me and only controls me. It was only then that I realized that this mini version of the little face looked like Suxing. I looked at the daughter I raised since she was a child, and I was really hurt this time. Okay, you two are very good. The house is our common property, and the family savings have always been in your hands. You decide how to divide it. I was almost laughing at Jiang Wenshen's shameless words. He was a poor student who married me a year after graduation. His family didn't pay a penny. The house was bought by my parents. Considering his face, we wrote 2 names on it. Now, he actually talked to me about common property. I will take all the 2 million savings, the house will be yours, and I won't take other real estate. The house you insisted on building in your village 2 years ago will be mine. That house hasn't been renovated yet, and my parents are waiting to move in. Jiang Wenshen said a little reluctantly. He should be reluctant. For the sake of face, he spent more than 1 million to build a 5-story villa in his hometown. Almost all his own money in these years was invested in it. Haven't you been wanting to bring your parents to the city for a long time? It just so happens that my parents want to experience rural life, and I don't want to see you 2 dogs and bitches again in my life. 4. I sold my shares for 8 million, and my savings total 5 million. I got a rural luxury house from Jiang Wenshen after the divorce. I sat at my parents' house and calculated the current funds. Yesterday, Jiang Wenshen and I transferred the rural house. When his parents heard that we were getting divorced, they immediately made a clear battle line and protected Sojing like her own daughter. I have been caring for them for many years and have been giving them red envelopes and gifts on major and minor holidays, but I can't compare to them just because I didn't give them a son, even though it was their own son who kept saying that they were infertile. And because I insisted on living with a family of 3 and didn't want them to live in the city for a long time, Jiang Wenshen's family thought I looked down on them. Just after I divided the property with their family and severed the relationship between the 2 sides, a ding-dong suddenly came to my mind. Congratulations to Miss Zhou Yin for joining Future Live as a Doomsday anchor. The Doomsday startup capital is 13 million yen, and there is a 5-story villa. Please broadcast for 3 hours every day to earn gift points. Oh, this is a new anchor. This environment doesn't look like the Doomsday yet. This should be the early stage of the Doomsday. Should we start stockpiling goods? I love watching this kind of stockpiling live broadcast the most. Don't just stand there, anchor, get moving. Mom and Dad, did you hear any sound? What sound? My dad and Mom looked at me in confusion. Are you tired enough to have auditory hallucinations these days? After all, I have been busy this week, selling shares, getting divorced, and dividing the family property. It's okay, let's make a stockpiling list. I decided not to tell them about this for now. From the dream for a week to the so-called live broadcast now, weird things happened one after another. The changes in my life can only be described as earth-shaking. You are a new anchor, and you have just started to make a stockpile list. 5. Recently, I went to the shops that I am close to in the name of relatives from my hometown and stocked up a lot of dry goods. My parents are going to go back to Jiang Wenshen's hometown to supervise the construction. They will build the house in the next 2 months and hire a truck to transport the things there. Dad, the cured meat from Lao Li's house will arrive tomorrow. You can calculate what you are still short of. I don't know how many years it will take for the Doomsday to come. By then, the plants will mutate due to the weather, and crops will not grow in the fields. All poultry will be infected with viruses and cannot be eaten. Humans will also hide in safe houses and refuse to socialize because of the zombie outbreak. The food we are stockpiling now must ensure that our family of 3 can eat for 5 years. At that time, I heard that there were more grain reserves in the countryside, and theft and robbery incidents were rare in the first year of the Doomsday. Unlike in the city, robberies on the street occurred within less than 3 months of food shortage. After all, money at that time could not buy anything. Have you stocked up on the Western and Chinese medicines your mom wants to buy? Yes. A few days ago, I went to the Chinese medicine hospital where my mom lived before she retired. I got a lot of medicines through channels. I brought some medicines for health, colds, and some emergency medicines. I also have Western medicines. My mom is a Chinese medicine practitioner. She retired at the age of 45 because my dad didn't want her to be so tired. He also thought that Western medicines would expire in 1 or 2 years, so it was more appropriate to store Chinese medicines properly. The shelf life is very long, starting from 3 years. When I went to get the goods, my mom said she wanted to open a Chinese medicine clinic in her hometown. I repeatedly assured the director that it would be opened in a remote hometown, and he introduced her to a supplier of medicines. After all, my mom was the living signboard of the hospital before she retired. Then we'll set off today. We've just packed the boxes. Please take inventory. We're finally going to start taking inventory. What an exciting moment. I've been following the anchors to shop at Taobao and the market every day. I probably know what's available. The live streaming system has been with me for a week. I open it every time I stock up. I've also begun to accept the transparent live streaming screen in front of me. From the words of the viewers, I know that they are from the future or a place with extremely advanced technology. This live streaming platform is similar to the current Douyin and Douyin on Earth. Although they have a lot of complaints, there are also hundreds of people discussing the content of stocking up, which can help me find out the gaps. The next day after binding the live streaming system, I went in to check the points mall. 500 watts points can be exchanged for a laser gun, function, kill enemies. Instantly, 150 watts points for a piece of land, function, can grow any plant tenfold, warm reminder that half an acre of land is needed for storage. 200 watts points for a well, function, inexhaustible spring water. 50 watts points for super strong glass, function, anti-gun, explosion-proof, waterproof, and 100 degrees Celsius high temperature. My eyes almost stuck out when I saw these things. They are all Doomsday essentials. I have been live streaming for 8 hours every day recently, and my points have reached 50,000. I will try to get the glass before the doomsday. 6. More than 100 kinds of medicinal materials, a total of 10 boxes. 50 boxes of tissues, 10 boxes of daily necessities, 500 kilograms of rice, 500 kilograms of flour. Dad, you should take these daily necessities with you this time. If anyone asks, you should say it's our retirement home. Okay, you're almost more nagging than your mom. Your dad, eat more salt than you eat rice. Of course, you have a strong taste. Mom, you should take care of him in the future. Eating too much salt is not good. It's already this time, and you and your daughter are still joking here. Mom came over and hit each of us on the head. I won't see you for a month. I've only been there 3 or 5 times. The villagers seem to be very hospitable. The Jiang family is from outside and their reputation is not very good. Jiang Wensheng is a phoenix that flew out of a chicken coop. His family is lazy and he supports them all. His mother is a famous shrew in the village. He also has an alcoholic father, a brother who is 30 years old and still has no proper job. His sister just graduated from college. She came to our house every day to ask for work. She was always looking for a job, but she was not good enough. She just wanted to marry a rich second generation. It's really the end of the world. Who can care about who? It's okay to live not too far away. But we found your father's comrade in arms for the decoration team. The house is the capital for our survival, so it must be repaired firmly. Mom is still wise. I was thinking about who to find to decorate the house. It seemed that his father was doing it before. Now, they have a falling out. I don't trust their family either. After all, your parents have walked more roads than you. Yes. 3 months to the end of the world. In the past 2 months, I sold my parents' house and received a profit of 3 million. After deducting the 5 million they took away for renovation and the 1 million they stockpiled in the early stage, I still have 10 million left. I have only survived the apocalypse for 2 years. I am not sure whether a place can always be a safe haven, so I made 2 preparations. I spent 3 million to buy a truck type RV, so that I can have a guarantee when I really need to move. Host, this RV has a high level of safety, right? I heard from the sales that it can't be penetrated by guns. I'm so tempted. I also want one to travel with my family. Does the upstairs want to escape the apocalypse? Toy to my current plane is very safe. Baby, we are done here. When will you come over? I just got the RV and received a video call from my parents. Mom and Dad, look, the RV we ordered is ready. I've tested its safety performance and it's totally fine. It's spacious enough for our family of 3 to live in, and it can also hold supplies for 3 or 4 months. Oh, it looks good. Come back soon. You've been busy for 4 months and you look a lot thinner. My dad looked at me with a distressed look on his face. I'm not thinner, but I look more energetic. I've taken useful skills courses such as shooting, fighting, and gardening. Thank you for your hard work, baby. Learn more, and our family will have a better chance of survival in the future. No matter how prepared it is, it's better to meet up with my parents as soon as possible. Dad, have you found someone to install the glass I sent over? I finally got 500,000 points a month ago, and I exchanged the glass immediately. Changed it. My comrade in arms has been asking where the glass came from. He has been engaged in construction for so many years and has not found this good material. It is out of print. This is the only batch. If there are any extra ones, let Uncle take them away and remind him implicitly. Yes, he listened to my request and kept asking me if I was building a shelter. That's right. 8. Dad, the road in the village is not repaired and it is not easy to walk. It took 2 days of driving to get to this small village. Jiang Wensheng built the house on the hillside at that time, which was about 20 minutes away from the village. It was better to be remote. During this period, the goods prepared by the family were mixed in with the decoration team. It should not be discovered. I saw the location of the house from a distance and called my father. Daughter, come in quickly. With the voice of my father, the big iron gate in front of me slowly opened. When Jiang Wensheng built this house before, I also came to see the prototype, but now it seems that it is not at all like what he originally envisioned. The entire area is more than 300 square meters, and the building area is about 280 square meters. The 4-meter-high concrete wall is surrounded by iron railings. My parents listened to me and planted thorns, hoping that these would scare away some people with bad intentions. After entering, I saw a brightly lit 5-story villa. After I tried my best to ensure that there was no problem with safety, my father finally agreed to use glass on one side of the wall, making this Doomsday escape shelter look very good except for the exterior wall. Come on, park our second house on the first floor. My father directed me to come in. The first floor of the house is a parking lot. Is it a bit of a waste to use it only as a parking lot? Before getting off the car, I wondered that although the RV is very large, it can't occupy this 280 square meters. Mom and Dad, I miss you so much. Seeing my parents, who I haven't seen for 3 months, I immediately rushed over. You are so old, why? Are you still so crybaby? My mother patted my back a few times and secretly turned her back to wipe her face. My dear daughter, come and see the decoration of our house. Why are you in such a hurry? Take a rest for a night. Mom, I'm not tired. Let me see our house first. This is where we will settle down in the future. I was eager to pull my mom and dad to tell me about the structure of our new home. 9. I thought it was just the first floor of a parking lot, but it turned out to be a big deal. I don't know how my parents did it. They actually built a 100 square meter ice storage on the first floor. The roof is covered with solar panels. As long as there is enough sunlight, our house will never lose power. But I dreamed that it seemed to be dark for more than a month before the end of the world, and there was no sun, I said a little worriedly. Your father has also prepared a diesel generator, which can guarantee power supply for about 3 months. When the time comes, use it sparingly and try to get through it. The old ones are the wisest. If you don't know how to praise people, shut up. Let's go to the basement. There's actually a basement. When Jiang Wangshen designed the house, he didn't say that he had a basement. I looked around, but I didn't see any stairs going down. I saw my father press the wall, and an entrance slowly appeared on the ground. Oh my goodness, it's a hidden door. The basement is the main storage place for our family's supplies in the future, so it must be hidden. Dad, how did you install this shelf? I saw that the underground first floor was divided into 4 rooms, each of which was filled with densely packed shelves, and they were fixed to the ground and could not be moved. They also wrote the daily necessities area A, food areas A and B, and fuel storage area A, and a small part of the supplies had been placed. Didn't you say before that the foundation must be solid? The house is earthquake-proof. I was worried that the supplies at home would be scattered, so I just fixed the shelves. 2 months ago, your mother and I bought a large supermarket in the town. We bought a lot of supplies in the name of the supermarket. There are still many that have not been shipped back. Mom, you are so smart. A person suddenly hoarding a large amount of goods will definitely arouse suspicion, and it is very above board to use this name. How do you know it was your mother's idea? My father asked with a depressed look on his face. I don't have the heart to complain about my father. Let's go to the 2nd floor below ground. I can't wait. This is the wine cellar your mom left for me because she loves me. He to Dad happily touched the wine he moved from home. The 2nd floor below ground is divided into 3 rooms, one of which is used to store wine, another is made into a home theater, and the last one is used to store the medicinal materials brought before. The hobbies of our family of 3 are clearly arranged. All the mobile hard drives you sent before are placed in this room. I guess you and your daughter will spend a lot of time here. Thank you, Mom. I imitated my dad's expression just now and looked at my mom excitedly. If I hadn't been deceived by Jiang Wangshen and hadn't married and raised children early, I would probably still be the home girl who chased dramas and played games. I missed a lot of hobbies in my teenage years. During this period of time, I have been living more and more. I spent 2 months and asked several people to help me download TV and movie resources from a certain fish. I used more than 20 of the 50 tons mobile hard disk and sent it back early. My mother helped me put it here, and also filled it with various game consoles. There are also labels on the hard disk: romance drama, horror movie, family ethics, gun battle, etc. Suddenly I am not so afraid of the coming of the end of the world. How can parents not know what their daughter likes? Mom touched my head. The 2nd floor is the bedroom for the 3 of us, and there is also a gym, living room, and kitchen. This place is really big. It is still so spacious, even after so many rooms. Look at you, you have never seen the world. Dad came over and glanced at me with disdain. It's because a certain father didn't live up to his promise and didn't earn a 300 square meter house for us mother and daughter. 10. The room has a heater installed. I reminded my parents before that the temperature will remain at around -40 degrees Celsius for a period of time in the Doomsday. We can't survive without a heater in the house. In the dream, our family of 3 died of hunger and cold. However, resources are limited in the Doomsday, so we only installed it in our respective rooms. The living room has a fireplace installed, which we use for heating. This cloakroom is bigger than our 2 rooms combined. A 100 square meter cloakroom, a long-cherished dream, was unexpectedly realized in the Doomsday. I bought 30 Simmons mattresses, and the cold-proof clothes you ordered, prepared according to the standards of Arctic expeditions, heat-insulated clothes, isolation clothes, all of which are prepared, as well as clothes for our family of 3 to wear in spring, summer, autumn and winter. Your menstrual items are also put away. I may have to use the ancient method after you use them up. It's enough to be alive. What's the big deal about the difficult conditions? Besides, I can still use them for a few years. I said indifferently. It feels so good to have my parents around. They can help me think of everything. The 3rd and 4th floors are also prepared to store various materials. The 5th floor is vacant to be used as a greenhouse. I will grow vegetables and try to raise poultry in the future. Scientists in the Doomsday have discovered that mutations are caused by exposure to toxic ultraviolet rays from the sun and acid rain. If our family had raised poultry on it early, mutations should be prevented. The glass exchanged in the live broadcast room can filter harmful sunlight. I specifically asked the customer service. This system is quite user-friendly. I just can't answer why this question appears in my mind. Let's stock up as much as we can in the remaining 3 months. Baby, how much money do we have left at home? Total assets 16 million, 5 million for renovation, 3 million for RV, 500,000 for supermarket, 2 million for early stage material storage. We currently have 5.5 million left. This money is too much to spend. Mom still has 5,010,000, your dad. And I secretly saved it up to give to you later. You haven't worked for a long time, so you don't have money. Fortunately, we saved it up. Mom. Wow, the host's parents are so nice. Give gifts, yes, the host is so lucky to have such nice parents. I really want to live in the host's house, a fat otaku's dream house. Finally someone said what I thought: if I have this house, I am willing to live in the end of the World. I only bought 5 tons of coal before, and there is enough space in my house. I want to stock up another 5 tons. It should be able to fit next to the water tank in the backyard. I proposed the first idea. No problem. Your mother and I will buy more food in the name of the supermarket. See if there is anything else you want to buy at home. Dad, how is your relationship with the villagers? I also want to buy some seeds and saplings. I asked my father to open up the space between the 4th and 5th floors, leaving space for indoor tree planting. The area can plant about 3 trees. I have thought about it. Apple trees, peach trees, coconut trees. I will definitely be able to raise them well when I get that piece of land. After I really exchanged for the glass, my favorability towards this live broadcast system soared wildly. Before, the Jiang family wanted to cause trouble. Fortunately, your mother informed the villagers in advance and knew that it was Jiang Wangsheng who cheated and did a lot of disgusting things. Most of the villagers were simple and honest and stood on our side. At that time, they helped to scold their family members away. Then our family went to the village to buy some chicks and raised them on the top floor first, and then raised 2 pigs and cows. Is it appropriate? It's okay. 11 sister son, do you have chickens for sale? My mother took me to visit the village early in the morning. She came to a door with familiarity and started talking to an aunt who was hanging clothes at the door. Hey, Chin's sister, is this your daughter? She is so pretty. Can you raise chickens? Ha ha ha, she is my daughter. The old couple has nothing to do at home. It's no problem to raise some for our own consumption. Ching's sister, I was trying to hold back my laughter, and my mother secretly pinched my hand and signaled me to call for help. Hello, auntie? I passed by your house with Jiang Wangsheng before, but I didn't say hello. This family doesn't have a good relationship with the Jiang family. Forget it. Most of the villagers have an average relationship with the Jiang family, so I don't know most of them except for the neighboring families. Oh, we always thought that Jiang Wangsheng was a bad bamboo that turned out good bamboo shoots. I didn't expect that after reading books and becoming a cultured person, he couldn't change his bad roots. It's just that you, a good person, have been ruined by their family. Auntie Sun put down the clothes hanging on the clothesline and said with a distressed face. It's all in the past, it's in the past, Auntie Sun, let's talk about the chickens. I don't want to talk about their family now. That's good, you. 2 mother and daughter asked the right person, our chickens just had a nest a few days ago, let you take it away. As he said that, he was going back to pack the chickens for us. Usually, you can feed them some leftovers or rice grains or vegetable leaves. Chickens in the countryside are easy to raise and tasty, unlike those in the city that are fed with feed. If there is a problem, you can always come to me. I have raised them for a lifetime, and I can see more or less problems. I took a brood of chickens in a bamboo cage, with a hen and 10 tender yellow chicks, which looked quite cute. Thank you, Aunt Sun, how much is it? Tell me the number. What money are you talking about? You gave me acupuncture a few days ago and prescribed a lot of medicine for me without charging. My migraine for most of my life has been cured, and it hasn't come back yet. It seems that my mother's kindness as a doctor has come back. In the past, she often treated poor families without charging money in the clinic, and her salary was often not enough to make ends meet. Fortunately, my father made a lot of money. It's just a few injections. The medicine is free of charge. You have to pay for the chickens, otherwise I won't bother you in the future. My mother forced 300 yuan into the bank. What are you talking about? You don't need that much. 100 will be enough. I looked at the 2 women, whose combined age was in the 3 figures, arguing with each other, and hurried forward to interrupt. Aunt Sun, do you know who sells pigs and cows? My dad wants to raise 2 pigs and 2 cows, 1 male and 1 female. I have to ask about this. I haven't heard of anyone selling these piglets yet. Then call our family after you ask. We haven't packed up yet, so we'll go back first. I still have to go to the supermarket to deliver goods, and my dad probably can't handle it. Okay, you guys go ahead, and I'll ask my wife to go to the village to ask for you later. I haven't seen such a green place for a long time. The rural area looks very comfortable. I envy the host's environment. It's too early to envy. Didn't the host say that the end of the world will come soon? Yes, I suggest the host to take a few more breaths of fresh air. Yes, take a few more breaths for those of us who have never been to the countryside. I really appreciate everyone's suggestions. Complaints aside, I still took a few deep breaths in silence. 12. Hey, Dad, your supermarket is actually open. I thought the supermarket was under renovation, but it was actually open and there were people coming and going. I wanted to close it, but your mom said it was suspicious to keep the store closed and keep restocking. Let's keep it open. We can close it when the end of the world is approaching. We can make some money these days. We hired 2 cashiers, but we didn't give them the warehouse keys. The supplier also asked us to leave the goods and leave. The supermarket will restock every 2 days. Your mom and I will take turns to restock, so we won't be suspected. You are a wise mom. Okay, your mom is at home and can't hear your flattery. HMPH, I'll go pack the instant noodles. Get all the flavors. You're still picky at the end of the world. That said, but I still took 10 boxes of each flavor. After all, it's really greasy to eat too much of this stuff. There is a 300 square meter area for grain and oil, so we need to move more. Okay, I see the market outside is very lively, let's go out for a walk after moving. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but your mother has always stopped me, and there really isn't enough time, but now Ha 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 too, he smiled at his father. Master, can I order 30 pigs, 20 beefs, and 10 muttons from you? Our family has just moved to Taoyuan village, and we're planning to hold a banquet. I was thinking about this before, and I didn't expect there would be such a complete butcher shop in this town. Oh, you are a big customer. I have relatives in Taoyuan village. I have heard that a rich family has come. As a newcomer, of course I have to treat the villagers to good food and drinks. With so much meat, the villagers may not be able to finish it in 5 or 6 days. You city people just don't have any concept of meat and can't use so much. Some of it has to be sent to the city. It is inconvenient for relatives to come from far away. When the time comes, I have to go back and set up dozens or hundreds of tables. The villagers said that your meat is good, so they ordered it together. I looked at my father talking eloquently. He was obviously just passing by and decided to come to this restaurant on the spur of the moment. He didn't need to draft the lie at all. I couldn't help but nod beside him. Ahahaha, who in the nearby villages doesn't know that my meat is good? You've come to the right place. Since you said so, I'll give you a fair price. A pig is 1,000, a sheep is 3,000, and a cow is 8,000. They are all raised with grain, not any feed. Wow, 220,000. I glanced at my dad, and he looked at me. I had no choice but to give it to him. It's really not expensive. I won't bargain with you, but can you give us these 3 puppies next to it? Just now, I was actually attracted by the big dog tied next to the butcher shop. It was a wolf dog at first glance. It looked so majestic. There were 3 small ones in the cage, and there was a sign for sale next to it. Since you are so generous, I won't be stingy. This is born from our dog, Da Huang. It is a purebred wolf dog and a good guard dog. If there were not 3 big dogs at home, I would not be willing to sell them because they would eat more and more meat every day. The shopkeeper said with a distressed look on his face, and then handed me the iron cage. Da Huang looked a bit human, looking at the puppies reluctantly. Following our movements, he also moved forward a few steps and barked a few times. Dad Huang, we can't afford to raise so many dogs. We will definitely not treat them badly if you follow these 2. The old knife probably felt the emotions of his dog, squatted down and patted Da Hua's head. I will definitely take good care of the 3 of them. Haha, thank you, sister. 13-1. Month countdown to the end of the world. Dad, have you noticed that the weather is getting hotter and hotter? The family of 3 has worked hard for more than 2 months. The house is full of supplies. The watermelon seedlings planted 2 months ago have produced a small fruit. Yeah, you said that the end of the world will not come early, right? Eat less and leave some for me. Dad was sweating profusely while beating the new chicken coop. I was holding a big watermelon and eating it happily beside me. 3 puppies I brought back 2 months ago were lying at my feet. They are indeed wolf dogs. They are almost as tall as my waist in just 2 months. It's really not that I'm short, no, a few days ago, I found that the chickens have grown a lot, and the chicken coop on the top floor can't fit them. In order to prevent them from eating the fruits and vegetables in the field, I pulled my dad here to assemble the chicken coop early in the morning. Dad, you are doing your job more and more well. You even know to grind the burrs. I couldn't help but give a thumbs up when I saw my dad's skillful movements. You installed the cowshed and pig pen by yourself, and you have an ignorant daughter who is picking on you. You must be able to do it well. Dad rolled his eyes while saying this. Dad, is that a locust? Suddenly, the 3 of them kept screaming at the sky. I looked up and saw a few insects flying by, which looked a bit like locusts. I hurriedly asked Dad to take a look. It flew quite fast, it looks like one, there won't be a locust plague. Dad stopped his work and said worriedly. I roughly remember that. In my dream, there seemed to be various natural disasters in the early stage. I have been in the city before, and I don't know whether there was a locust disaster. Should I remind the villagers? Before, my family held a banquet to invite many villagers, and left more than half of the meat frozen in the cold storage. My parents did not collect the money for the share, but asked each family to contribute some grain, green vegetables, pickles, dried meat and other farm dishes, saying that relatives in the city love to eat this, and they stocked up a lot of them. They really never forget to stock up supplies anytime and anywhere. Because of this, I became familiar with the villagers. My mother learned some vegetable planting skills from me, and my father learned a little carpentry and hunting. The old couple have been sighing that rural life is really more interesting than the square dance and go in the city. It happens to be the autumn harvest season recently. I have to remind you. I will go to the village chief and call your mother home. Please count if there are any supplies that have not arrived. My father handed me the chicken coop and walked out of the house. I've been following this for 3 months. If it weren't for the title saying Doomsday, I would have thought it was a story about a middle-aged carpenter. Don't mention it, this chicken coop is really well made, much better than the previous cowsheds. You can paint it. This little house is quite unique. Host, do you have any agricultural and sideline products lottery activities recently? I felt bad for a long time when I didn't win the last time. I feel like an insect plague may really happen. It's autumn now, and the sun looks very scorching here. I watched the discussion in the barrage silently. When it comes to the agricultural product lottery, I reached the level half a month ago and opened the anchor privileges. I can send gifts to fans. With this wave of fans, I just got the land I've been thinking about. Since everyone is looking forward to it, let's give you another benefit today. I said to the void. As long as I connect to the live broadcast room in my mind, I can talk to fans in it. Whatever you want to draw, whatever you want to draw. I heard from the last winner that the pure natural farm products are especially delicious. I live in your live broadcast room every day, you must be shady. The firecrackers in the fans' fireworks gave the anchor a spaceship X-99. Big brother, fair. Competition, don't spend money. Wow, a gift of 5,000 points, I finally met the legendary Big Brother in the live broadcast room. This time I will give out 16 gifts, pure natural honey and delicious mushrooms. You saw me picking them in person, and whether they are pure natural or not is obvious to everyone. Just tell me how to draw. I have been eyeing this for a long time, I must be drawn. The top 3 in the fan contribution list so far will each get 1, and the top 3 in 1 hour will also get 1 each, which can be claimed repeatedly, and the other 10 will be drawn. I don't expect to be in the rich list, I hope I can be drawn today with good luck. I hope this wave of activities will allow me to collect enough points to change. Wells. 14. We still underestimated the wisdom of the villagers. They all depend on the weather for their livelihood. They noticed these insects before us and were already rushing to harvest. Your mother and I helped for an entire afternoon. We are too old and useless. We didn't even harvest as much as the children in their teens. Before dinner, my father supported my mother, and we walked home with you holding my waist. If there was nothing wrong with my face, I would have thought I was beaten. After being a city dweller for so many years, it's good to know how to use farm tools. It seems that our supermarket has to be closed in advance. I held my mother's waist and told my father about the plan for the next 2 days. The supermarket originally planned to find a reason to close 10 days before the Doomsday outbreak, but now it seems that the plan should be planned a little earlier. Who knows if something will suddenly break out and catch our family of 3 off guard. The supermarket will get another batch of goods tomorrow, and then we will do a major renovation. Anyway, it looks quite simple now. We have already stocked up most of the things we need. We will get the goods before the end of the world. We will find a reason to give them to the villagers. Talent is the foundation. Your father and I don't have many relatives, but most of the people in this village can talk to each other. When the time comes, our family will be the only one left. It will be hard to live alone here. My mother, who was exhausted, patted my hands and said, "That's right." After getting along with the villagers these days, I found that most of the villagers are simple and honest. Our family doesn't spend much money. We will help them if we can. My father also agreed with my mother's statement. I must agree with her with both hands and feet. God gave me a warning of the end of the world. I can't publicize it, but it's great to help people around me. Dad, how many guns have you prepared? Even if you don't defend against people, you have to prevent animal mutations and zombies that appear later. After arranging the supermarket to buy goods, I suddenly remembered that there were not many weapons at home. There are a lot of escape tools and 10 guns in the small room next to the RV. You take care of them. I got them with great difficulty. Dad was busy counting all kinds of books on the 3rd floor, fearing that he would miss something. In addition to loving Chinese medicinal materials, Mom also loves to read all kinds of books. She bought physical books online for those who couldn't find e-books. In addition to food, they prepared no less spiritual food than me. Okay, I'll go check it out. Why does Dad stock up fire extinguishers here? I'll put 2 cans on each floor later. Flashlight or rope or shovel or electric saw or various toolboxes or spare wires.it. Seems that Dad has made full preparations. Big brother, second brother, third brother, you 3 are also the safety guarantee of our family. I patted the 3 little ones who have been following me. After raising them for 2 months, I found that they were too smart and could understand many instructions without special training. As if they understood what I said, they called out a few times. 20 days before the end of the world. The locust disaster a few days ago affected all the villagers to some extent. Our family can't help much. The supermarket in the town is preparing for a major renovation. Many of the things left over from the previous transfer are about to expire. It's not appropriate to sell them after the renovation. Let's give one to each of our villagers as a souvenir. Don't despise it. Winter is coming soon. I wish you all a good harvest in advance. Dad is worthy of being a leader. He said such a nice thing. I pushed my mother and praised her husband for his good choice. Don't tease your dad. Help divide the things. Oh my, your family is really kind. The boy from the Jiang family is really conscienceless. An old lady in her 60s in the village took the gift and kept thanking me. She kept bowing her head, which made me confused and looked at my parents. Grandma Yang, stop talking about this. Winter is coming soon. Stock up on some coal and wood. If your children can come home this year, call them back. It doesn't look like this winter will be easy. My mother understood my look of help and quickly distributed the things in her hands. She stepped forward to help Grandma Yang and carried the supplies for her as she walked out. Sister, can I get these things too? I was still immersed in my admiration for my mother when a thin little boy suddenly stood in front of me. He looked only 7 or 8 years old. His clothes were washed and old and didn't fit him well. His sleeves and trouser legs were folded in several layers. He looked at me timidly. The things are very heavy. Why don't you ask your parents to take them? Whose family is it? I have never seen this child before. Whose parents are so irresponsible that they don't even buy clothes that fit them? I looked through the list given by the village chief and asked. My father's name is Zhang Tieta. Will his name be on it? The child looked at me expectantly. There are only more than 50 households in the village, and I don't think I've seen this name before. Village chief, is Zhang Tieta from our village? I raised my voice and shouted when I saw the village chief not far away. The small circle around me suddenly became quiet. Hey, Jinbao, didn't you leave with your mother? Why are you back? When did you come back? Sister, Zhang Tietar has been gone for 2 years. The child's mother remarried last year. Uncle village chief, woo woo, woo woo, woo woo, don't chase me away, woo woo. Don't cry, kid, don't cry first. 16 Too inhumane, worse than Jiang Wenshen's family. After distributing the supplies, our family was still counting the remaining supplies when the village chief knocked on the door. The first and second floors of the house were still visible to people, and there was a wall outside the cold storage, so others couldn't find it. My father welcomed the village chief to the living room on the second floor and talked about the child today. After spending some time together, the two of them were like brothers. While I was carrying the water, I heard my father losing his temper in the living room. The family that could compare with Jiang Wansheng aroused my curiosity, so I hurried over. Mom and Dad, is the child going to be sent to an orphanage? The child's name is Zhang Jinbao. His father died of illness. There is no one else in the family. All the savings were spent on medical treatment. His mother has no ability to make money, so she remarried in a village in the next county. The second married man has 2 biological sons who don't like Shenbao. At first, it was okay, but later he got into the bad habits of drinking and gambling. He beat the mother and son every few days. The work of the whole family was put on the 2 of them. Jinbao was 10 years old, but he was not allowed to go to school because he was not his biological child. The 2 mothers and sons who had no relatives had no one to turn to for help. 2 months ago, Jinbao's mother was beaten to the point of miscarriage. The whole family said that she did not protect the child. She took Jinbao away to do housework and farm work, regardless of the fact that she had just had a miscarriage. Jinbao's mother hugged Jinbao and cried for 2 days. Finally, she secretly gave him 200 yuan and asked him to run away. She killed her husband and drank pesticides. Jinbao thought his mother didn't want him anymore, so he hid and refused to leave. When he found out that his mother was dead, he threw himself on her and cried. In order to vent their anger, the family tied up the child and wanted to sell him to human traffickers. The child was smart. He remembered the way back to Taoyuan village and sneaked back to the village when the family was not paying attention. He was afraid that the villagers would find him and send him back there, so he hid in his original home. Because he lived in a remote place, no one found him. He lived for half a month by digging sweet potatoes in the fields. Finally, the village broadcast said that there were free supplies, so he ran away. Wow, the child is so pitiful. I hope the anchor can take him in. I am willing to contribute my few points. Yes, a 10-year-old child has lived on his own for half a month, and he was still very neat when he appeared. Great. We also like to watch the Doomsday raising of children. One person wrote in blood to the anchor to take him in. This village chief is also a shrewd person. He must have seen the kindness of the anchor's family and deliberately played the victim. The village chief is also for the good of the child. This village does not seem to be rich overall. It just so happens that the anchor's family is rich and kind. I want to see if the anchor's family is willing to raise another child. If your prediction is correct, then the Doomsday will come in a few days. What's the difference between sending him to an orphanage and sending him to death? My mother also looked worried, but the situation at home was not suitable for receiving a stranger. The village chief hopes that I can drive the child there. The nearest orphanage is 100 kilometers away. My father looked at me helplessly and said, "Dad, I'll go with you." I picked up the car keys and motioned to my father to go out. "Jinbao, everyone in the village is powerless, I hope you can understand." My father was in the back seat with the child, and I drove silently. "Uncle, this is Aunt Sun, Uncle Village Chief, Brother Shangtian. Give me the money that was stuffed into me, please help me pay it back, I only have those food and clothes." The child, who had been silent since he knew he was going to be sent away, suddenly spoke with a crying voice. I watched him take out the money from his pocket from the rearview mirror and handed it to my father with both hands. There were 150, and some scattered. Just as I was taking the child away from the village chief's house, most of the village came over and gave as much as they could. In the end, they said they couldn't put any more in. They all came to talk to the child. It seems that everyone gave the child some money. It's the most uncomfortable to have the will but not the ability. After all, raising a child now is not just about giving him food. Do you know that with this money, life may be easier in the future, or are you blaming us? I suddenly asked. No, everyone is very good. I'm still young and can't spend so much money, and I may not be able to protect him. I know there are many children without parents in the orphanage. I'm not alone. Anyway, it's the same everywhere without parents. As he spoke, he clenched his fists and his voice became softer and softer. Then are you willing to be our child? When I heard my father say this, I braked suddenly, but fortunately I was not driving fast. Can I? Really? I can sweep the floor, cook, harvest wheat, and grow vegetables. I'm very good and won't cause trouble for everyone. My eyes, which were originally dull, suddenly looked at my father expectantly. My father turned his head and looked at me. He seemed to understand and looked at me with tears in his eyes. Of course. Let's go, sister will take you to buy clothes, and you will be my real brother in the future. 10 days before the end of the world. Jinbao, did you light the fireplace at home? I walked out of the room timidly. Suddenly, the temperature dropped to -10 degrees Celsius overnight. I heard that it didn't snow in Taoyuan village in previous years, but this time the temperature dropped all over the country. The internet was full of people talking about the temperature drop. Sensitive people have already noticed that something is going to happen, and many people are hoarding supplies. Jinbao always gets up early and is diligent. Come, have a cup of ginger tea. You are the only lazy person in the family. My mother brought me a cup of hot ginger tea and pushed my head. Children won't grow tall if they don't get enough sleep. She made a face at Jinbao. I've gotten enough sleep. The book says to get 10 hours of adequate sleep. I go to bed early every day. The little guy was sitting upright on the sofa, reading a fairy tale book. When he heard me talking to him, he quickly put the book down. In the past 10 days, I have been buying him clothes, enlightenment books, toys and the like. Jinbao is not very interested in toys, but he loves to read books all the time. He also likes to dry Chinese medicine with his mother, which makes the old couple very happy. I went to check the seedlings upstairs. They were a little frozen. Fortunately, the chickens and cows were fine. If my daughter hadn't reminded me in advance that the temperature would drop during this period and the room had been filled with thick quilts, we would have had to eat the bitter Chinese medicine. Dad came down from upstairs in a set of farm clothes. After dinner, I have to take the medicine box to the village. Many people must have caught a cold due to the sudden drop in temperature. Mom has almost prepared the medicine box. Mom, I will go with you after breakfast. Can I go? I can help. Jinbao ran forward and said with the medicine box. Jinbao, just go with me. Ying, you stay at home with your dad to see if there is anything frozen. I am still worried. This is like having a son but not a daughter. I thought it was just a few minor colds, but I didn't expect that 3 elderly people in the village didn't make it. The village chief smoked a dry pipe and organized everyone to bury the old man simply. Now, the most important thing is to buy cold-proof clothes for the winter. In order to avoid being out of place, our family also drove to the market early in the morning to buy some. 1-8, Sister Zhou Ying, long time no see. When I was shopping for fresh ingredients with my dad in the county town, someone suddenly called me from behind. I turned around and saw Su Qing's family of 3. Why are they here? Sister Zhou Ying, I heard that my uncle lost all his savings in stock trading, so he was in a hurry to sell the company's shares. We just wanted to patronize the supermarket in this town, but we found it was closed. If you really encounter difficulties, tell Wenshen and I will definitely help you. Su Qing said with concern. If there was less gloating in her eyes, I might believe it. However, the bankruptcy rumor deliberately released half a year ago is still useful. Really? Can you give us 200,000 to continue running the supermarket? Our family only has that one revenue left, and we don't know how to farm in this country. I winked at my father, asking him to hold back, and pinched my thigh and said with tears. Give me 200,000. Why don't you go and rob? Su Qing probably didn't expect me to really take over, and looked at me in shock. Ein, this is 20,000 yi. We can't give more. Jiang Wensheng, who had been silent all the time, took out the money from his bag and put it in my hand. Wow, I looked around and saw several aunties from the village secretly watching us. It seems that Jiang Wensheng still wants to have a good reputation. No wonder he gave the money so quickly. Will these 20,000 yuan buy me 7 years of youth? I stared at Jiang Wensheng and asked. I haven't had a big fight since the divorce. Everything has been resolved amicably. Now that the important things such as stockpiling supplies have been completed, he still ran into my gun. I have time to have fun with them. You left so cleanly, I thought you had no feelings for me. Indeed, I didn't, I silently complained in my heart. You are a cheating man, and you took away my company, house and other real estate. I helped you and the mistress raise your child for 5 years. How can you expect me to have feelings for you? I roared, attracting more people who eat melons. You, what are you talking about? Apart from the emotional matter, I don't owe you anything in terms of property. Jiang Wensheng suddenly panicked and motioned me to shut up. Okay, even if you don't owe me anything. Su Qing, what about you? From school to work, I have supported you for a total of 7 years. If you count it as 100,000 a year, you should give me 700,000, and your daughter, I. Shut up, don't talk nonsense, how can there be so much, and you gave it to me voluntarily. Su Qing hurriedly interrupted me. This is 100,000, and the matter between us is written off. Jiang Wensheng took out another 100,000 and gave it to me. Wensheng, what are you doing? That's for my family. Su Qing's eyes were red, and he wanted to take the money back. I immediately put it in my father's hand. My father was nearly 50 years old, but he still kept exercising. His muscles were very coaxing. Jiang Wensheng might not be able to beat him. Why, Jiang Wensheng owes my daughter this little, and you want to take it back? Dad glared at them. After all, he had been a soldier and a boss for so many years, so he was very imposing. Stop talking, let's go. Jiang Wensheng probably didn't want to lose face again, so he pulled Su Qing, picked up Jiang Tongtong and left. Don't pretend to be generous if you don't have money, I said with disgust, and the people around were helping to make trouble. Looking at their backs, it looked more like they were fleeing. Dad, let's go and buy more things for Jinbao and Lauda. I picked up 120,000 yuan for free and disgusted the bitches. It's great. Okay, let's go. The anchor is so dramatic, the scenes of abusing scumbags are really never boring. What does this mean? If you do something wrong, you should go out less, otherwise you will meet your creditors sooner or later. The anchor is so happy, can you buy more local specialties to reward your loyal fans? It will be difficult for us to feed them in the end of the world. That's right, the anchor can even sell goods on live broadcasts. I really want to get more points. I am just a little short of exchanging for a well. I have to choose some suitable products to cheat the audience of points. 195 days before the end of the world. My daughter, how long will this weather last? The villagers have been going out to chop wood in the heavy snow recently. They have been hoarding tons of coal. I heard that all the coal around the town has been sold out. My father went out to check the situation in the village and came back to say to the three of us who were warming ourselves by the fireplace. It was snowing heavily outside, but it was warm inside. The eldest and the other three fell asleep comfortably. When it was quiet just now, I could hear their snoring. Jinbao, be good, don't come over. I'm cold. My father stopped Jinbao from trying to get him a coat. This child is so sensible that I, a biological child, feel like I picked him up. Then I'll go get you a cup of ginger tea. He jumped and skipped to the kitchen. This child is much more lively. My mother smiled with relief. That's right. Our family has such a good atmosphere. Jinbao will definitely become more and more cheerful. I said proudly that our family of 3 has experience in raising children. The village is not well prepared for winter, and Jinbao's room also needs a heater. I plan to go to the city to buy some solar energy and heaters. I didn't tell the villagers before because I was afraid that everyone would be reluctant to spend money. Now, several elderly people have frozen to death. Today, I mentioned it to the village chief. And most families are willing to buy one. Dad held a cup of hot tea and told me and my mother about his next plan by the fireplace. I don't have any objections, but if you can take the main road when you come back, take the main road. If you see a mountain road, you can take a detour. Or should I go with you? It has been snowing for 5 days. I am afraid that the snow is too thick and there will be accidents. I have contacted the shop that our family bought before. I said that I would pay 3 times the installation fee, and they would send 7 or 8 more people to install it. It would only take 1 day to go back and forth, and you can stay at home with your mother. 20. So my dad's car didn't come, right? That night, everyone was waiting for the team to install the heater at the entrance of the village, but my dad didn't come. The masters in the last 2 cars asked us to take shovels and rescue people as soon as they came down. At the last bend 5 kilometers away from the village, there was a sudden landslide. They saw in the rearview mirror that the car my dad and the village chief were sitting in was submerged. Mom, I can't get through to Dad's phone. I anxiously dialed the number over and over again. Every household in the village was preparing to find tools to dig people out. It was too late to wait for the rescue team in this weather. Everyone, be quiet. 5 kilometers is still a long way, and the snow hasn't stopped yet, which may cause a second landslide. Let's send about 20 people to check the situation. My daughter, you call the rescue number to see if you can get in touch with them. The rest of you will follow the masters to install solar energy, heaters and other things. I was completely panicked and didn't know what to do. But my mother, who had been silent since she got the news, suddenly stood up and directed the crowd in an orderly manner. When the crowd gradually dispersed, I found that my mother's hands were shaking. I hurried forward and held them, hoping to give each other strength. I will go to the landslide to check the situation later. You should keep an eye on each household and install the ones with elderly and children first. Mom, you stay here, I'll go to the landslide. You are more familiar with the situation in the village than I am, and I'm young and can dig some. If something happens, I can run faster than you. To stop my mother from thinking about going over, I picked up the shovel on the ground and asked my companion to pull me onto the tractor, the village people's means of transportation. I hope the host's family is safe. There are fewer people here before the doomsday. Toi toi toi, if the people upstairs can't talk, don't say anything. They will be safe. I was lucky to get the host's prize twice. The host, please pick me up. Good luck. I will be fine. 21. Sister Ying, let's go back first. We have been digging for 4 hours. It's so cold. We can't hold on any longer. A villager held my numb snow shoveling hand. We dug a small half of the collapsed mountain in 4 hours, but still didn't see my father's car. I hope no news is the best news. I'm not tired. Is there another way to get into the village? I want to go around and take a look. Suddenly I thought of something and said excitedly to my brother beside me. Your hands are frozen. Let's go back and have a meal. Let's get some lights and come back. The other main road takes 2 hours to go around. People in our village like to go this way. I'll go with you after we rest. Mom, my dad will definitely be fine, right? Finally, I was persuaded to come back by the villagers. As soon as I entered the house and saw my mother sorting out tools, I rushed over and cried. Jinbao stared at the 2 of us blankly, and suddenly hugged me and cried together. It's okay, it's definitely okay. Your dad promised me that he would never abandon me. Does your hand hurt? Soak it in warm water. I'll take Lao Da over later to see if it can help find Dad. You stay at home to take care of Jinbao. Mom stroked my back and said firmly that Dad would be fine. Open the door quickly, Uncle Zhou is back. Just after swallowing a few bites of bread, there was a loud noise outside the door. Lao Da and the other 3 kept barking. I hurriedly put down the bread in my hand. My mother, who usually pays attention to her image, lost one of her slippers and went to open the door in her socks. Jinbao was so anxious that he picked up his shoes and ran out together. I was the slowest runner. 1 day to the end of the world. Dad, I've bought your new glasses and reading glasses. It has been 4 days since my dad's accident. Fortunately, he drove slowly that day and braked in time when he saw the mountain collapse. Although he was still hit a little, the airbag opened and knocked him unconscious. His glasses were also broken. He slept for a day and a night before waking up. Your mother has been worried about you these days. Where are the flowers she bought for me? In the trunk. An old couple still does these things. TSK, I don't envy you. I took Candy to Jinbao and bought some new snacks. The money at home has been spent. It will be dark for more than a month, and I'm not sure if the stored electricity will be enough. Let's use it mainly for heating. I bought 3 boxes of candles before, and put them in the reserved candlesticks today. After my mother gave an order, the 3 of us immediately took action. Sister, we feel like we are living in a fairy tale castle. As soon as the candles were lit, the whole room was shrouded in warm candlelight. It was the first time for me to see this scene, and I was as amazed as Jinbao. Don't just stand there, walk around and find something to do. Our family won't go out for more than a month. Dad suddenly appeared and patted our heads. Can I bring Tuan and Yang back? I can share half of my meal with them. Jinbao pulled the hem of my clothes and asked in a low voice. We didn't say anything specifically, but Jinbao was more sensitive. He also realized that the world was changing recently, and he has been doing what he can. He has been at home for so long, and this is the first time he has made a request. He is too obedient for a child of this age. Who are Tuan and Yang? I asked in confusion. They are stray cats in the village. I don't know who abandoned them. Jinbao goes to see them from time to time and even gave them names. Your dad asked someone to help catch them yesterday. I'll go out and see if I can pick them up later. 23 The 10th day of the apocalypse. Don't play games with Jinbao all the time. Have you watered the vegetables on the roof today? My mother's roar suddenly came from the intercom by the door. Jinbao and I put down the game controller with resentment on our faces and walked out of the basement with our heads down. I shouldn't have let my dad install this thing if I had known. But the network has been getting worse and worse recently, and there is no phone signal. The discussion on the internet is in full swing, and everyone says that the world is going to end. The official was still refuting the rumors a few days ago, but now it is slowly losing control of the development of public opinion. You go and tell mom that you want to eat sweet and sour pork ribs. I'll go and water the vegetables. Jinbao is my mom's favorite recently. If she agrees to 1 out of 10 requests I make, it's good enough. Jinbao agrees to everything. But we've been eating sweet and sour pork ribs for 3 days. I want to eat double pepper pork ribs. Jun Xiaobao. If there's no sweet and sour pork ribs on the table today, I'll let Tuan and Yang sleep with me tonight. Sister, you're cheating? Before it got completely dark, we caught the 2 kittens. After washing them, we found that they were a calico and a ragdoll. The purebred cats were actually abandoned by someone. Fortunately, except for being a little dirty, my mom checked and found no other problems. Jinbao would hold them to sleep every day. I don't know what's going on in the village these days. The communication was still working a few days ago. I called to ask, and they said that fortunately the heating was installed in time, everything in the village was fine, and most of the young people had returned. My parents were discussing on the side. I saw online that there will be a large-scale power outage. The power shortage will be supplied to the city, and the countryside will definitely be the first to lose power. I told my parents about the latest situation outside. Alas. 3 months of the apocalypse. After more than a month of darkness, it finally began to light up slowly, but the time of day and night has slowed down. Now the day is 48 hours. After the village was notified of the power outage 2 months ago, it has never been restored. No one knows what happened in the world during the dark month, but all the crops in the land withered and could no longer be cultivated. The villagers cried heartbreakingly. They have been dealing with the land all their lives and could not accept this cruel change. A month ago, zombies appeared in various places. They moved slowly and bit people when they saw them, but they were afraid of the sun and liked to move at night. The city is now like hell, with zombies rampant and lack of food and water. Many young people in the village who had not returned before ran back. Fortunately, one of the main roads was closed before, and only local people knew the other road. The village chief had already found someone to control the other road, fearing that zombies would break in. A high wall was built at the entrance of the village, and villagers were sent to stand guard every day. I heard that Jiang Wensheng's family also brought their family back to the village yesterday, and made a scene at the entrance of the village. The Jiang family is shamelessly making a scene with the village chief, wanting to take back the house we live in now. He is dreaming. Dad sat on the sofa angrily. Let him make a scene. Our family is not easy to mess with now. We should have made them pay the price a long time ago. Have the things they tinkered with not long ago been fixed? Mom asked calmly. Although the electric grid on the wall has not been powered recently, the glass shards can still protect people, and there are more than a dozen surveillance cameras installed there, which will give us an alarm if outsiders approach. Not long ago, the 3 of the eldest brother suddenly barked at the door because Jiang Wensheng was wandering around our house. 6 months after the apocalypse. My dad is too old to take turns guarding the village gate, but if zombies appear, our family will definitely help. The village chief knocked on our door early in the morning and said that he would rearrange the rotation system for each household. In order to fit in, we took our guns and went out. After all, the villagers were already short of food, and they began to go to the town in an organized manner to collect food. If our family didn't show up, people would definitely be jealous. Because of the reputation we accumulated in the early stage. And the fact that my mother was the only doctor in the whole village, everyone didn't dare to offend our family too much. After all, a high fever at this time could be fatal. After the apocalypse, many minor illnesses became extremely serious, and most people didn't have enough medicine reserves at home. Aunt Chen's 14-year-old boy has to take turns. Why should your family of stay out of it? I knew that today's matter would not be so easy to get over. The Jiang family, who had been harassing our family for 2 months, was defeated by our attitude of ignoring them. No matter how they shouted at the door, we should read books and play games. When they were thirsty, we could eat hot pot and enjoy it, which was also a boring pastime. Later, their family knew that they could not do anything to my family and began to participate in the activities of the village. My father and I killed half of the zombies that appeared at the entrance of the village last week. My mother is willing to help if the villagers really have any trouble. You Jiang family are strong and healthy, with 7 or 8 people. What have you done for everyone? I always thought that the village was remote and the probability of encountering zombies was not high, but some have appeared one after another since last month. The rotting corpses had dull eyes and banged the village gate frantically. Even if I have the memory of my previous life, I still have to be mentally prepared to avoid vomiting when I see these monsters again. Fortunately, the gun was reliable and could hit the head. The villagers also picked up shovels and smashed them crazily. After they were sure to kill them all, they burned them with fire. The fishy smell made people lose their appetite for several days. If we live well and sleep well, we can definitely contribute a lot to the village. Besides, we are a family. The house is not small. What's wrong with living together? Can you bear to let Tung Tung starve to death? Zhao's mother took over and started to think about my house again. If I didn't bring a gun with the 3 bosses every time I went out, I would have been hit by the Jiang family. Village chief, if there is nothing else, we will go back first. There are 200 kilograms of potatoes and sweet potatoes in total. We have moved them all to the village. We don't know how to grow them. Let's work together. Ignoring Zhao's mother, I gave the crops to the village chief. They grew in our fields not long ago. I specially dried them for a few days to disguise them as the old ones. After the unremitting efforts of the villagers, it was found that if the wasteland was well taken care of, some things could still be grown. The yield was less than 1/10 of the previous one, but it could ensure that everyone would not starve to death in the short term. The village remembers your kindness. Your family is all good people. If your family hadn't bought these from other villages before, I don't know how to live now. The duty was not originally yours. I am the only man protecting you guys. You should stay together. The village chief's dark face was so excited that he almost cried when he saw the food. Who knows if they have a lot of food and drinks hidden in their family, and now they take some out to pretend to be good people. What the hell are you talking about? The father grabbed Jiang Wenshao's sister. Her words were really heartbreaking. Let go of my daughter, let go, you are a grown man, how dare you? The other members of the Jiang family wanted to step forward, but the eldest brother and the others grinned at them and stopped them. You Jiang family are the ones who guard the food, but you still beg for food from every household. If you don't give them food, you will stand in front of their door and curse them all day. Now everyone relies on those few mouthfuls of food to survive. Look at how thin Sister Zhu has become. Her face is almost sunken. You have lost your conscience. Aunt Chen, who is close to my mother, couldn't stand it anymore and helped my father and I to curse. If I remember correctly, I follow the broadcast every day. The anchor eats a lot of fish and meat at home every day. I almost thought it was a food broadcast. How did she lose weight? I know this. The anchor's mother asked the anchor to plant vegetables and turn the soil every day. After planting, she had to run on the treadmill for 40 minutes. She said she was afraid that she would be fat and be discovered by the villagers. I heard from the anchor this morning that she lost nearly 20 pounds compared to before the Doomsday. Yes, the depression on her face was made up before she went out. I guarantee that she is healthier now than before the Doomsday. I beg you to stop talking. Speaking of the land at home, I smell more delicious rice when I dig rice. Sure enough, the fruits of my own labor are the most delicious. 26. This Jiang family is a time bomb. I went home and said to my parents worriedly. Their family is now not afraid of those wearing shoes when they are barefoot. I am always worried about what will happen. I heard that there is not much food left from the city. Sister, Mom and Dad, the Jiang family seems to have set fire to our doorstep. Zhou Ying, come out, I know you still have food. You set fire if you don't give us some. It's your family that won't let us live, don't blame us for being cruel. I followed my parents to the monitoring room and saw that everyone in their family, except Jiang Tongtong, had a torch in their hands. They are all bad guys. Jinbao clenched his fists angrily, his face flushed red, and the 3 of them probably felt the little master's emotions, and they kept barking. Yes, they are all bad guys, so Jinbao, don't trust others too much in this world. Dad took the opportunity to educate the child. A few days ago, when he went to the village, Jinbao saw a child in the village with a yellow face due to hunger. He kept staring at the potato seedlings in the soil and drooling. He secretly put a few packs of biscuits that he had saved for his studies at the back door of the child's house and covered them with a small pile of soil. He was quite smart and knew to dirty the brand new packaging. His father was watching behind him and no one else found out. The uncles, aunts and grandmothers in the village used to be very good to Jinbao, but I won't let them know about our family situation, otherwise my parents and sister will be in danger. I will let the eldest brother bite these bad guys who used to bully my sister and are still coming to the house. Jinbao nodded sensibly. Dad touched Jinbao's head with relief. Jinbao, let's go and have hot pot. It's a pleasure to eat hot pot with air conditioning in summer. And it seems that one of the watermelons upstairs is ripe. The old man will go pick it, and Ying Ying will go to the ice storage to get the ingredients. The head of the family, the mother, has spoken. The best revenge is that the jumping clown ignores her. Let's go get the ingredients. Why the Anchor's family is not nervous, they really set fire. At first glance, the friend was new. When the Anchor's family was infantile, the 4-meter-high wall was painted with fire coatings. I have to say, foresight. Who can spread the fragrance, and every time I see the Anchor's meals, I can't wait to send my nose. The Jiang family was beaten by the villagers and drove out of the village. The man with a wolf heart and dogs has endured this family for so many years. It's all your dad's fault for not having good taste. He didn't think highly of this son-in-law and chose this scumbag. George Juchen, you cook dinner tonight. This isn't what Ying liked at the beginning. Under the intimidating gaze of my mother, my father still didn't dare to say the rest of the words. Jinbao and I laughed secretly. Mom, let's have steak today and take a bottle of Dad's collection. Let him dare to mention that I didn't know people well back then. In the end, the three of us had a warm candlelight dinner, French steak with top-grade wine, and my father could only eat instant noodles. After eating, we had to go back upstairs to guard the cowshed because the 2 cows at home were about to give birth to calves. Jinbao had never seen this before, but he insisted on holding a small quilt to accompany his father to watch. Dad was so happy that he kept hugging Jinbao and kissing him, saying that he had not raised this son in vain. 28. Brother Zhou, open the door quickly. The Jiang family let in a group of zombies from somewhere. Several people in the village were bitten. They also brought more than 20 big men, saying that our village has abundant food and wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to rob things. Boss, the people in this village actually have guns. Rush to the scene, follow my father and the villagers to kill all the zombies. The strong man who had been hiding in the dark and the Jiang family showed up. What are you afraid of? Didn't Jiang Wenshan say that the guns of these 2 fathers and daughters have run out of bullets? Otherwise, they would have opened fire long ago. These zombies were killed by axes. As he spoke, the big men came over one by one, and several people from the Jiang family followed behind. There were not many young and strong men on the villagers' side, and they were consumed by a wave of zombies. The situation did not look good for us. Jiang Wangshan, your family really has no conscience at all, even worse than animals. I looked at Jiang Wangshan hiding behind the crowd and cursed. You are the ones who want to kill our Jiang family. We were driven out of the village by you. On the first day, Lao and Tong Tong were killed by zombies. You are the ones who are condemned by God. If you don't let my Jiang family live, none of you will live. Jiang remained silent when he heard this, and asked his mother to stand up and curse. Jiang Tong Tong. I was stunned. The child was gone. Sister-in-law, save your energy. You will have to lead everyone to find a place to store grain later. Don't leave any men here, and the women, too. The other boss looked at the crowd obscenely. You'd better get out. If we really fight, we have a lot of people. The village chief glared at them and stood in front of them. If you dare to come one step closer, we will chop you with our axes. Even though the apocalypse has been going on for so long, the villagers are still simple and honest. They still can't kill people. The weapons in the hands of these people look bloody, and it seems that they have done a lot of evil things along the way. I don't know if you have the strength to throw your axes at me. You are all pale and thin. I'm afraid you can't hold the axes. We brothers eat a lot of meat on weekdays, too. After saying that, he approached more arrogantly. Bang to my father, who had been silent all the time, shot the other boss in the leg. Before, my father said that using guns all the time would make the villagers assume that our family is the guardian god and have no ability to protect themselves. Later, our family fired less and less and told others that we didn't have many bullets. We fought hard in the early stage, and everyone believed it. My legs, Jiang Wangshan, didn't you say the gun had run out of bullets? Save me. Boss. There was chaos on the other side. The father and daughter's guns, really haven't been fired for a long time. Jiang Wangshan looked at the guns in my and my father's hands in disbelief. Following my father, I broke the legs of the leaders, making them lose the strength to resist, and then ordered the villagers to tie them all up. In this world, people are much scarier than zombies. In addition to guarding the village gate every day, we will send people to patrol the mountains every day. After burying the villagers who were bitten by zombies and were about to mutate, the village chief tied up the group of people and the Jiang family on the mountain where the landslide happened before. From time to time, a few zombies would appear over there. Whether they can survive depends on their luck. The host has found a paradise in the end times. Yes, the villagers are united to fight against foreign enemies, so touching. Why do I feel like the end is coming? No, I also like to watch the hosts. Father feeding chickens and watering vegetables. Me, too. I can also watch the host's mother cooking live. I haven't learned how to make the braised pork last time. If I say I like the daily life of Jinbao doing homework, will you think I'm a bit perverted? Hey, the host's daily life of eating, drinking and sleeping, don't you want to cue it and watch it? 29. The village wall has been built, and I feel a lot more at ease. Your father has been focusing on taking care of the vegetable garden upstairs recently, and rarely goes to the village for a stroll. My mother chatted with me while taking a bath. Who would have thought that we would live more comfortably than before the end of the world? It would be even better if we don't have to fight zombies from time to time. Stretched comfortably. The potato harvest in the village has stabilized. We will transfer some of our vegetable seeds there in a few days. We have saved half a warehouse of seeds. Our family feels more at ease if the villagers can be self-sufficient, but we have to find a reason to help. End.